Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about one thing that can guarantee that you are fluent or close to fluent in English. That is, if you understand jokes in English. I think understanding humor in English as a non-native speaker is one of the most difficult parts. And it only comes when we are truly advanced in a language. Because when you really have a high level in English, you can understand the joke and you can understand it fast, which is even more important because usually it happens like this. Someone makes a joke and then everyone is laughing. I think you guys have probably heard this phrase in English. Pun intended. In a lot of different movies and TV shows, when someone makes a joke, they're very likely to say pun intended.
Good food provides the backbone. Sorry, no pun intended.
But the experience with the blue shark, had me completely hooked, no pun intended.
So when a person says pun intended, it just means that the joke was a deliberate one. They were making it on purpose. A pun is basically a play on words. For example, you can tune a guitar, but you can't tune a fish. Tuna is a kind of fish. And tune a guitar is basically make it sound better. Sometimes though, people do this accidentally, so they didn't want to make this play with a word, but it happened and people might think it's a pun. And when that happens, people say no pun intended. They didn't intend to make this joke. So creating jokes with puns is a very big part of the American culture, of the British culture, of the Australian culture. Whatever kind of English you're learning, people are going to be making jokes using puns. That's why in this video, I want to take a look at some of the jokes with puns with you guys and explain all of them to you. But before we begin, I wanted to mention that you can now register for my speaking club. It is the most popular course I have, and it is actually not my regular speaking club. It is a better, upgraded version. So if you want to spend the next 4 weeks in the community led by me, meet people from all over the world, and have English classes every single week, again with me and other students, make sure to register for my speaking club. Right now you can choose between 2 levels. The first level is called Basic, and there you have all the video lessons, all the classes with me in real life, and also you will be able to get transcripts with useful marked vocabulary. But guys, if you really want to improve your English, if you really want to speak more fluently, you should go for the Pro version, because there, apart from all the marked vocabulary, you will also get lists with examples and exercises to practice all of this new vocabulary. And something that is even better, I will be checking your homework, and your homework will be all about speaking. So if it sounds like something you would like to do in 2023, if one of your goals is to improve your English, make sure to register right now, because there are only a couple of days left. And I'll see you guys there. So guys, right now let's move on to our jokes. And the first one is called Speed of Light. I have my computer there, so I'm gonna be reading them off of it. Light travels faster than sound. That's why some people appear bright until you hear them speak. So this joke is funny because you have to know the word bright and what it means. Obviously, the sun is very bright, right? But if someone is bright, they are smart. Usually, though, people use it in a negative sentence, that someone is not bright, meaning someone is not smart. So here is why it's funny, and here is why there is a pun, because it's a play on the word bright. Let's move on to the next joke. Sudden realization. I was wondering why the ball was getting bigger. Then it hit me. It's funny because you have to know what the expression "it hit me" means. So the literal translation is the ball hit me. Right? I was wondering why the ball was getting bigger, and then it hit me. I was like, yeah, because it's very close and it hit me. But also, when we use the expression "it hit me," we try to show that I realized something. For example, I was thinking why I felt so hungry. And then it hit me. I hadn't eaten in 4 hours. You can basically translate this as I realized, and then I realized I hadn't eaten in 4 hours.
And then it hit me. Being some Broadway star really isn't my dream.
Joke number 3. It's called unemployment. I have a few jokes about unemployed people, but none of them work. Again, the second part here, none of them work. If something doesn't work, it means, it's not funny. For example, this joke. I have a few jokes about unemployed people, but they don't really work. Like, all of my jokes, they don't sound good. But because we're talking about the unemployed people and unemployed people don't work, it can also refer to the unemployed people. You know what I mean, guys? So it's funny because my jokes don't work and the unemployed people also don't work. And guys, let's look at the comment right here because it's also very interesting. A person here is saying, come on, dole them out, would all benefit. Dole something out means to give food or money to several people. For example, I can't keep doling out money to you kids. And it's funny right here because the phrase is, come on, dole them out, would all benefit. Again, kind of give us the jokes, but dole something out usually refers to like money, like giving something to someone as charity. And also would all benefit. When people are unemployed, they're sometimes receiving government benefits. That's also why it's funny because again, different words in English have various meanings. Now let's go to joke number 4. It's called split personality. I have a split personality, said Tom, being frank. It's very, very funny. I think this one is probably my favorite because, again, you have to know the word frank in English. Frank is also a name, and if you have a split personality, you're this person and that person, it's a disorder. But also the word frank means honest. Tom was just being honest, and he said, I have a split personality, said Tom, being frank.
I have to be frank with you.
Now let's move on to joke number 5. It's called sinking ship. I renamed my iPod the Titanic. So when I plug it in, it says the Titanic is sinking. This is really, really funny because the word sink in English, when a ship sinks, it goes underwater. But it's spelled differently. And the pronunciation is completely the same. So the Titanic is syncing, kind of synchronizing, updating the music library. But here it's funny because it's syncing, kind of like the Titanic, which just says iPod, is syncing. You know what I mean? And I also really like the comment. It says, while you're singing Ice Ice Baby. Here's the song, guys. Ice Ice Baby. I'm just gonna insert a small clip for you so that you understand what I'm referring to here. Joke number 6. How to get holy water. How do you make holy water? You boil the hell out of it. This is kind of more on the dark side because I think people who are religious might get a little bit offended, but guys, again, we're using all of this to learn English and to learn all of the different words and expressions. So this part, the hell out of something or someone, means very much. So we boil it a lot. We boil the hell out of it. But it's funny because holy water, holy refers to being pure, right? In a spiritual kind of way. So hell, and also it refers to heaven. So hell and heaven, right? Obviously, to create holy water, we need to boil it so that all the hell comes out of it. I hope you understand what I mean here, guys. Let me give you another example with the word the hell out of. You scared the hell out of me. You scared me very much. It's very informal, and yes, a lot of people use this expression in English. So if you feel like it, you can also use the hell out of.
Murdoch, burn the hell out of me.
Joke number 7. It's called glass coffins. Will glass coffins be a success? Remains to be seen, This is also dark humor for you because coffins are those things where we put dead people, but remains is also interesting because it can be used as a verb, like it remains to be seen, but because we don't use this it, we can translate this as a noun actually, because remains is something that is left like after an animal or a person after they die. So if a coffin is made out of glass, obviously it's transparent, so you can see everything. You can see animal or human remains. And then the common is shudder. That would be mortifying because I completely agree, not everyone enjoys this type of humor. Let's now move on to joke number 8, which is not dark humor. It's called just a fantasy. Last night I dreamed I was swimming in an ocean of orange soda, but it was just a fantasy. Again, it's really like this one. I really like this one because it's funny. I think it's funny. So orange sea. Let's first talk about Fanta. Fanta is this drink. I don't know if you guys have it in your country. Let me know in the comments. But in the States or where I am from in Russia, we definitely have it. So Fanta is this kind of orange soda that tastes like oranges. So this person was dreaming that they were swimming in an ocean of orange soda, but it was just a fantasy. It was a sea full of Fanta. It was a sea made of Fanta. Or it was a fantasy. This word, guys, fantasy. It's funny because it sounds exactly the same, but it's also interesting because usually native speakers, especially Americans, they will pronounce this word fantasy sometimes as fantasy, and that's it. They will omit the letter T. Now let's move on to joke number 5, which is called dyslexia. When life gives you melons, you're dyslexic. Okay, here I need to explain something. So first of all, probably you're like, what? Why is it funny? It doesn't make any sense. So if a person is dyslexic, it's difficult for them to read. They have a lot of difficulties and problems when it comes to reading. It's hard for them to put letters into sounds and actually voice them. But also in English, we have this very important and very popular phrase. If life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So if something bad happens, you try to spin it and make a positive situation out of it. If we rearrange the letters, the word melons will turn into a word lemons. Yeah, that's crazy. And if you're dyslexic, you will have a problem reading the word lemons, for example, and you might read it as the word melons. I really hope it makes sense, but basically, guys, all you have to know is this really famous phrase in English about if life gives you lemons, you gotta make lemonade, or you can make a lemonade out of it.
There's a special number if you've been diagnosed as dyslexic.
So now let's move on to our last joke, joke number 10, and it's also an example of dark humor. It's called a balance check. I lost my job at the bank on my very first day. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her over. Because this person was working at a bank, when you check your balance, you check how much money you have left, right? You can log into your computer or your app or go to the bank to check your balance. But this person was probably mad and they pushed her to check her actual balance, like how well her body was at balancing. So as you can see, guys, using puns is especially common in dark humor. It's always like this, like the first sentence is kind of like the story, and then the next one is like, oh, I see it. It's funny, but like mean or not so funny for some of you guys. So yeah, this is the example of dark humor using puns. Let me guys know in the comments which joke was your favorite. I think for me it was definitely the one about the split personality. I think it was joke number 4. I have a split personality, said Tom, being frank. I really like this one. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite and why. As a quick reminder, make sure to join my speaking club if you want to spend the next 4 weeks learning English with my help, having talks in English with me, getting your homework checked by me, and talking to other students from all over the world in English. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!